What's up, everybody? Today I want to talk to you about having a two-strike approach. So one of the most common questions I get asked, especially when I'm working with hitters in the cage, is, so what do you do to teach a two-strike approach? Because we see a lot of times that hitters will have these big swings and we're always trying to hit the ball harder and farther, but then we're also seeing hitters that don't know how to do anything different when they get to two strikes. So let's start with mechanically how I think we should approach a two-strike count. First and foremost, what do? Do we choke and poke? Do we spread our feet out and go no stride completely? Do we crowd the plate? I've heard so many different ideas from coaches and players over the years. And the answer is we have to do whatever it takes to catch a barrel. We've got to think about competing in the box when we get to two strikes, right? When we have no strikes, you can take a hack. When we have one strike, you can take a hack. But when you get to two strikes, it's about helping your team. It's about moving a runner, about getting on base. And I know that we've seen over the years that people don't really value strikeouts as much as they used to. When I say that, I mean we're okay with striking out. But as we're seeing the game progress, and especially as we get to higher levels, your ability to hit with two strikes becomes super important because it helps you become a more valuable member of your team. I don't believe that we should just concede the at-bat, take a wild hack, and strike out. I just don't believe in that. I think that there's so much value that a player can bring by their ability to put a barrel on a ball and compete with two strikes. So when we talk about mechanics in the box with two strikes, I like to think of it like this. I think this is the simplest way I can break it down for you guys. Let's say you're 2-0 swing, right? When the count is 2-0 and you're looking for a fat pitch to hit and you're trying to drive the ball. Let's say that is a 10 out of 10 on the effort level scale. Our two-strike approach swing should be dialed down a little bit to maybe a 7 or an 8. What you'll find is the hitter's going to be a little bit more relaxed because obviously having two strikes on you is a high-stress situation. So you're going to dial your effort level down just to make you feel a little bit more relaxed and comfortable in the box. The second thing is when you get to that lower effort level, that 70 or 80% effort level, you're going to notice that your swing moves get a little bit smaller, right? But we want to make sure that we still are being the hitter that we've trained for months and years ahead of time. We don't want to completely change our swing and completely change our moves to a swing that we've never practiced before. So if you're a hitter that has a leg kick, or if you're a hitter that your hands go back a little bit, if you dial that down to about a 7 or an 8, you're still going to have those moves, but they're just going to be a little bit more small, and they're going to be a little bit more under control. And that's what we're looking for when we get to a two-strike count, because our goal, again, is just to find barrels. We want to find a barrel. And that leads me to my next point. How do we manage the strike zone with two strikes? That doesn't mean that we go up there and we swing at everything that we can reach. And a lot of times what we'll do is when we get to two strikes, because it is a high pressure environment, is we'll let fear kind of be the driver here, where I don't want to strike out, don't strike out, don't strike out. I'm fearful of the result, and so I end up chasing way outside of the zone just for fear of striking out, and then you end up striking out anyway. What we want to do is we want our mindset to not just be on making contact, but making sure that we find a barrel. And the barrel is the sweet spot of your bat, and that only is able to cover a certain zone, and it looks a lot like the strike zone. So when we start thinking about anything I can reach, foul it off, put it in play, we're giving up the ability to actually get a base hit or put a ball in play hard enough to move a runner or to get us on base. So I want us to always be centered around where is the barrel and can I put a barrel on the ball? Because after all, the strike zone is for the hitter. The strike zone is called the strike zone because those are the balls that we're able to strike with our bat. So don't let fear be your driver when you're in the box. Try to find a barrel. Can I put a barrel on this ball? And that's probably a pitch that you're going to want to swing at. And that will help keep you from chasing outside of the zone. So dial it back to 70 or 80%. Make sure that we're always trying to find a barrel. But the last thing is just compete. And do whatever it takes to allow you to compete in the box. If you feel more competitive when you choke up, then choke up. If you feel more competitive when you're standing super close to the plate, then do that. Whatever it takes, but you got to compete with two strikes because it's about helping your team. And the cool cool part is if you practice this, if you actually practice your two-strike approach, that means when you're taking your batting practice, when you are hitting off the machine, if you're doing and incorporating two-strike rounds, which I highly, highly encourage you to do, you're going to find that maybe your two-strike approach swing is actually better than your what you would consider your A swing or your 2-0 swing. And if that's the case, then go ahead and go with that. If that's where you catch more barrels, you hit more line drives, you hit more doubles, then that should be your full-time swing. And conversely, if you're finding that you can't do anything with two strikes, as soon as you get to two strikes, you're striking out because you're trying to do too much and change your swing, then maybe you need to just dial that effort level back down, but maybe not change your swing altogether. So I highly, highly encourage you to work on your two-strike approach. I also really encourage you to have a two-strike approach. A lot of hitters I know don't have one. They have no idea what they're doing, and that just gives you another tool to have in your toolbox so that you can go have a competitive at-bat, and that's what we're after.